The main thing that kind of drew me to this piece was its obvious influence of traditional African masks, which is kind of also something that's really inspired me over the last 5 or 6 years in my artwork. And kind of prior to that, I grew up in Africa I was there for about 5-6 years in the mid to early 80s. And the African mask, the traditional mask, was kind of omnipresent back then. Kind of inspired me almost subconsciously as a child. And then fast forward kind of a few years later, I was working in Chicago. There was this kind of artifact store, and in the window was this old, like kind of ancient African mask that I just became kind of obsessed with at the time. I'd walk by it and see it every day. Would stop, I went in and talked to them about it, started doing sketches of it, and it really just started to influence like my work completely at the time, and I started making all these characters that were kind of rooted in this, like, you know, black slits of eyes and this open mouth that a lot of these African masks have. It turned into this longer series that I did called Spirit House. It was kind of these black and white illustrations that were all mask and face and pattern based. Another thing I love about the African masks is the heavy, like, pattern influence to them. What I realized, what I really loved about the African masks is that it kind of takes puts a human personality into this kind of spiritual and metaphysical idea that in turn, like, makes you be able to connect with people on a different plane, which is kind of, in my mind, exactly what I wanted to do with artwork in the first place, and what I think a lot of people want to do with their artwork is take some sort of representation of something and connect with people on a different plane. I wanted to do something a little more physical. I mean, I do mostly black and white. The most physical my work gets is adding collage elements or things like that into it. And I've been doing mostly work on paper, so I decided to get a panel built and kind of build up this thick ground to make this piece feel a little more physical. It's still going to be very, like, pattern based, which is something that almost through the masks I got almost more into. So I'm starting with kind of this pattern around the outside, and I'd like to do something that is kind of, the way this looks kind of pieced together and overlapped using kind of collage and paint, but I kind of want to let it, you know, see where it goes naturally without planning exactly what it's going to look like. So.